Chapter 11. Greek Scholars and Manuscripts. Move west. When Constantinople fell in 1453, the Byzantine Empire disappeared. But its knowledge did not disappear with it. For centuries, Constantinople had preserved something Western Europe desperately wanted: Greek scholarship. While Latin dominated the medieval West, Byzantine scholars could still read the works of ancient Greek thinkers in their original language. Their libraries contained manuscripts of Plato, Aristotle, Homer, historians, mathematicians, physicians, and philosophers. And the movement of that knowledge westward had already begun long before the Ottoman conquest. During the 14th and 15th centuries, Italian scholars increasingly sought Greek manuscripts and teachers. Byzantine intellectuals traveled to Italy. Italian humanists traveled east looking for books. Wealthy patrons paid scholars to translate ancient texts. Then the growing Ottoman threat accelerated the exchange. One of the most important moments came in 1439, when Byzantine Emperor John VIII Palaiologos and a delegation of Greek churchmen and scholars attended the Council of Florence. Among them was the philosopher George Gemistos Plethon. Plethon lectured about Plato and Greek philosophy, astonishing Italian intellectuals who had inherited only part of the ancient Greek philosophical tradition. Florence was already wealthy. Now it became hungry for Greek knowledge. Cosimo de' Medici supported scholars and manuscript collecting. Later, Marsilio Ficino translated the complete works of Plato into Latin, making them accessible to a much larger Western European audience. Other Greek scholars followed. After Constantinople fell, figures such as Cardinal Bessarion helped preserve and circulate Greek manuscripts. Bessarion eventually assembled an enormous collection and donated hundreds of Greek and Latin manuscripts to Venice. These books became part of the foundation of the Bibliotheca Marciana, one of Europe's great libraries. The timing was extraordinary, because Europe had just developed something capable of multiplying this recovered knowledge: the printing press. A manuscript that once had to be copied slowly by hand could now become hundreds or thousands of printed books. Ancient ideas could travel farther and faster than their original authors could ever have imagined. Western scholars compared different manuscripts. They corrected errors. They learned Greek. They translated forgotten or neglected works. And Renaissance humanism increasingly turned toward the principle, ad fontes, to the sources. Don't merely accept what someone says Plato wrote. Read Plato. Don't merely repeat what generations of commentators said about Aristotle. Read Aristotle. Study the original language. Compare the surviving texts. Ask what the author actually wrote. That intellectual habit would have consequences far beyond Renaissance art. It encouraged scholars to question inherited interpretations in philosophy, religion, medicine, history, and eventually science. But there is an important correction to the popular version of this story. The Renaissance was not created overnight by Greek refugees fleeing Constantinople in 1453. Greek learning had never completely vanished from Western Europe. Medieval scholars had preserved substantial portions of ancient knowledge, while Byzantine and especially Islamic scholars had preserved, translated, criticized, and expanded Greek works for centuries. Contacts between Italy and Byzantium were already transferring manuscripts and expertise westward before Constantinople fell. 1453 was therefore not the beginning. It was an accelerator. The fall of one civilization's capital helped redistribute part of its intellectual inheritance into another civilization that possessed wealthy patrons, universities, humanist scholars, and now printing presses. Empires could fall. Libraries could burn. Cities could change hands. But an idea copied into enough books became much harder to destroy. The Ottoman conquest ended the Byzantine Empire. It did not end the conversation begun by the ancient Greeks. Instead, that conversation acquired new readers. And Renaissance Europe was listening.